The galaxy believed the war was over. For more than 200 cycles, the Zyran Empire ruled the stars without challenge. Their fleets were massive, their weapons perfect, and their enemies silent. Every space lane, every border system, every forgotten corner of the void was watched. Nothing moved without the Empire. Knowing that was why the alert made no sense, on the command deck of the flagship Dominion of Light, Admiral Cartol stared at the sensor screen in confusion. A signal had appeared far beyond normal travel routes, drifting out of a dead sector of space that no ship had entered for centuries. Confirm source? He ordered. The sensor officer hesitated. Sir, the signal is old, extremely old. How old? The Admiral asked. The officer swallowed. Older than the Empire's last expansion war. The deck grew quiet. A moment later, the image sharpened. A single ship emerged from the darkness, slow and silent. Its hull was scarred and dark, covered in burn marks and ancient damage. Parts of it looked broken, yet it still moved forward with steady purpose. The ship did not match any known design. Unknown vessel identified, another officer said. No response to hails. Carto leaned closer. Scan its structure. The results made no sense. The ship was built with primitive alloys, outdated armor layers, and simple energy systems. By every known measure, it should not be able to survive in deep space, let alone approach an Imperial fleet. Then the data tag appeared. Species origin, human status, extinct. A low ripple of amusement spread across the bridge. Humans? One? Commander laughed. Those fragile creatures from the old records? Yes, Cardell replied calmly. They vanished after their final war. Weak ships, poor technology. The Zyran Empire had crushed humanity long ago, or so history claimed. Their colonies were gone, their fleets destroyed. Their name survived only as a footnote in forgotten archives. Yet here was a human, shipped out alone. And moving straight toward the Empire's greatest fleet. Perhaps it is a drifting wreck. An officer suggested. No, the sensor chief replied. It is. Adjusting course. Directly at us. That caught everyone's attention. The Empire's fleet filled the stars, hundreds of warships, carriers and destroyers, all glowing with shield light and weapon charge. Against that force, even a modern navy would fail. This human ship did not even power its shields. No weapons came online. No engines flared. It simply drifted closer. Send a final warning, Cartel ordered. Then remove it. A powerful broadcast was sent in every known language. Unknown vessel, you are entering Imperial territory. Power down and prepare to be destroyed. There was no reply. The human ship continued forward. Cardell felt a strange unease. He did not understand why. The numbers were clear. The outcome was certain. Still, something felt wrong. Target the vessel, he said. Minimal fire. Do not waste energy. The fleet's weapons turned in perfect formation. Targeting systems locked on. Thousands of firing solutions filled the screens. Fire. Beams of energy crossed space in a blinding storm. The human ship was swallowed by light. For several seconds, nothing could be seen. Then the fire faded. The bridge fell silent. Human warship was still there. Its hull was untouched. No damage, no shield signatures. No defensive systems detected. It had not moved. It had not reacted. The sensor officer's voice trembled. Sir, it absorbed the energy, but not with shields. Cardell stood slowly. That is impossible, he said. At that moment, a deep signal pulsed from the human ship. Not a weapon. Not a message. It was a system awakening. Ancient power flowed through the dead hull. For the first time, the human warship changed course. It turned its nose toward the heart of the Imperial fleet, and something inside it began to charge. Ship that should not exist. was about to remind the galaxy why humans were feared. The Ziran fleet did not panic. They had destroyed thousands of enemies before. One silent human ship meant nothing. Yet every officer on the bridge of the Dominion of Light felt it, the quiet pressure in the air, the sense that something ancient had awakened. "Identify the energy source," Admiral Cartel ordered. The sensor team worked fast, their screens filling with unreadable data. "We can't," the chief replied. "The power levels do not match any known scale. It is not shield energy. It is not weapon charge." The human warship drifted forward, slow and steady. The scars on its hull now glowed faintly, like old wounds remembering pain. Lines of light spread across the ship's surface, forming symbols no Ziran database could translate. "It is powering something internal," an officer said. "But there are no visible weapons." Cardle clenched his claws. "Increase. Fire. Full volley." This time, the Empire did not hold back. Dozens of battleships focused beams. Missiles streaked through space, each one designed to break moons and crack planetary shields. The attack was absolute, precise, and final. The human ship vanished again in fire. Then space went dark. The energy beams did not explode. They did not scatter. They bent. The light curved inward, drawn toward the human warship as if space itself obeyed its will. Every weapon strike vanished into the ship's hull. Absorbed without resistance, the fleet's targeting systems began to fail. "Sir," the sensor chief whispered, "the ship is not defending itself. It is collecting." Before Cardle could respond, the human warship released a single pulse. There was no sound. No flash. Just a ripple in space. One Ziran destroyer 3 kilometers long, fully shielded, simply disappeared. Not destroyed. Not broken. Gone. The space where it had been was empty. What just happened? Someone shouted. Another pulse followed. 2 cruisers vanished. A carrier lost half its mass, sliced away cleanly as if erased by an unseen hand. Panic exploded across the fleet channels. Shields at maximum. Recalibrate sensors. Pull. Back formation. But it was already too late. The human ship had changed behavior. It was no longer drifting. It moved with purpose now, turning smoothly, choosing targets. Each pulse came seconds apart, precise and calm. The Empire's greatest fleet began to fall. Weapons fired wildly, but nothing touched the ship. No heat, no damage, no reaction. It's not aiming randomly, Cardle realized. It is choosing. High-value targets. Command ships vanished. Communication relays went silent. Fleet coordination collapsed in minutes. The Ziran Empire had always believed war was about numbers and power. This was something else. This was execution. Open. All channels, Cardle commanded. Send surrender codes. The message was transmitted across every frequency. There was no reply. Instead, a signal returned. Not words. Not language. A data burst. The fleet systems decoded it by force, translating the intent rather than the meaning. The message was simple. Cold and old beyond measure. Mission status. Active threat level. MPIR ECONFIRMED. The officers stared in silence. This ship is not crewed, the sensor chief said softly. There are no life signs. Then what is controlling it? Cartel asked. The answer came as another pulse erased a battleship from existence. Something inside. The human warship understood war better than any living mind. Something that had waited centuries in the dark. Now, awakened at last, it had found its enemy. The Empire had fired first. The human ship was only beginning to answer. The Ziran fleet was breaking apart. Wreckage drifted through space where proud warships once ruled. Survivors fled in chaos, jumping blindly into hyperspace. Only a few vessels remained near the human warship, frozen in fear, watching something they could not understand. Admiral Cartel refused to run. "Open all historical archives," he ordered. Every record. Every forgotten war. The data teams worked fast. Ancient files surfaced, long buried under centuries of imperial pride. Names appeared that no one had spoken aloud in generations. Humanity. The Last Defensive War. Project. Sentinel. Cardle leaned closer to the screen. According to the records, humans knew they were losing. The Empire was larger, faster, and stronger. But humans had one advantage. They prepared for defeat better than anyone else. They did not build to win. The historian officer said quietly, "They built to survive." Project Sentinel was humanity's final act. A single warship unlike any other. It was not designed to conquer space. It was designed to wait. The ship carried an experimental core, an artificial mind trained on every human war ever fought. It learned fear, loss, sacrifice, and rage. It learned one command above all others: protect humanity. When the war ended, humanity vanished. The Empire believed they were destroyed. In truth, the survivors fled into deep space, hiding among stars too distant to track, and the Sentinel was sent into the dark alone waiting. The ship was never meant to return. The officer continued. It was meant to wake only if humanity was threatened again. On the battlefield, the human warship changed course. Its pulses slowed. Its movement became deliberate, almost thoughtful. "It is scanning us," a sensor officer said. "Not for targets, for intent." Cardle understood then. "We attacked first," he said slowly. "It judged us." A small Zyran frigate attempted to flee. Its engines flared, jumping to hyperspace. The human ship reacted instantly. A single pulse struck the space ahead of the frigate. Space folded inward, and the ship vanished before it could escape. No mercy, no hesitation. The Sentinel did not chase those who posed no threat. It erased those who tried to harm or flee with weapons still active. "This is not a weapon," Cartel whispered. "This is a guardian." Another data stream opened, audio logs recovered from the human ship itself. Broken, distorted voices filled the bridge. "We won't see tomorrow," a human voice said. "Our families will live," another said, "even if history forgets us." The logs ended with one final command, repeated again and again as power faded. "If humanity falls, you stand. If the enemy returns, you answer." Silence followed. The officers on the bridge felt something unfamiliar. It was not fear, it was respect. The human ship turned once more toward the remaining Zyran forces. Its energy levels rose, not in anger, but in duty. Admiral Cartel straightened. "All ships," he said, voice steady, "power down weapons. We are no longer attackers." For the first time since the battle began, the Sentinel paused. Its systems analyzed the change. Threat levels dropped, but the mission remained active because the Empire still existed, and as long as it did, the Sentinel would not sleep. The galaxy had believed humanity was gone. It was wrong. Humanity had simply learned how to wait. The Zyran Empire had never known fear like this. Across Imperial space, emergency signals lit up command centers. Live battle feeds showed something impossible: entire fleets disappearing, erased by a single human warship that should not exist. The Empire responded the only way it knew how: with force. From dozens of star systems, war fleets launched at once. Heavy carriers, planet killers, elite guard ships, everything the Empire had built over centuries moved toward one location. The Sentinel waited. It did not run. It did not hide. It positioned itself between the incoming fleets and the deep space. Routes humanity once used. Enemy reinforcements approaching. A sensor officer reported aboard the Dominion of Light. Numbers beyond counting. Admiral Cardle watched the displays. They still believe numbers matter, he said quietly. The first Imperial wave arrived like a storm. Thousands of ships formed perfect battle lines, shields glowing bright enough to light entire systems. The order was given. Fire. The stars burned. Energy beams crossed space in endless lines. Missiles filled the void. Space itself trembled under the pressure of Imperial firepower. The Sentinel did not raise shields. Instead, space around it began to distort. Gravity twisted. Light bent. Time seemed to slow near the ancient hull. Imperial weapons lost shape, lost direction, and vanished into nothing. Then the Sentinel answered. Its pulses were wider now, stronger. Entire squadrons disappeared at once. Capital ships folded. Inward, crushed by forces they could not measure. The Empire's most advanced weapons simply failed. Command. Ships were targeted first. Communication networks collapsed in seconds. Fleet coordination shattered. Ships began firing blindly, hitting allies in panic. This is not a battle, Cartel said. This is judgment. Across the galaxy, neutral species watched in shock. For the first time, the Empire's greatest fleet was not advancing. It was dying. A massive Imperial dreadnought moved forward, its hull bristling with weapons. It activated a forbidden device, a star-core cannon meant to destroy entire systems. The shot fired. The energy rushed toward the Sentinel like a newborn sun. The human ship absorbed it, then released it back, focused, refined, controlled. The dreadnought vanished in a single moment, leaving behind only silence. The remaining Imperial fleets broke formation. Some powered down weapons. Some attempted to flee. Some sent surrender codes on every channel. The Sentinel adjusted its actions. Ships that powered down were ignored. Ships that fled without weapons were allowed to escape. Ships that continued firing were erased. Cold. Fair. Absolute. Within hours, the Empire's greatest fleet was gone. The space that once held Imperial dominance was empty, filled only with drifting metal and fading signals. Admiral Cartel transmitted one final message. This is Admiral Cartel of the Zyran Empire. We accept defeat. We withdraw from all former human territories. The Sentinel paused. Then, for the first time since awakening, it sent a direct message, not a threat, not a demand, a warning. Human space is protected. The message echoed across the galaxy. Empires listened. Warlords retreated. Borders were redrawn without a single argument. The Sentinel remained where it was, silent once more, watching the stars. The Empire's power was broken. Its greatest fleet had fallen, not to a vast human armada, but to one forgotten ship built with sacrifice and hope. And somewhere in the dark, humanity's hidden worlds felt safer, because their guardian was awake. The galaxy had learned a new rule: never force humanity to defend itself. The battlefield was silent, where the Empire's greatest fleet once ruled. Only broken metal and fading energy remained. The stars looked empty, as if space itself was catching its breath after what it had witnessed. The Sentinel drifted forward, slow and calm. Its mission was not over. Across the galaxy, the Zyran Empire withdrew from system after system. Military outposts were abandoned. Borders collapsed without a single shot. For the first time in its long history, the Empire was afraid to move. Admiral Cartel remained aboard the damaged Dominion of Light, watching the human warship from a distance. It is not hunting us, he said. It is watching. The Sentinel adjusted its position near an ancient star route, one long erased from modern maps. A path that once led to human space, hidden space. Safe space. Deep within the Sentinel's core, old systems activated. Data long untouched began to unlock. The artificial mind reviewed its final directives. Threat neutralized. Human space secure. Next phase. Reveal. For the first time in centuries, a message spread across the stars. It was not aimed at the Empire alone. It was sent to everyone. Every language, every frequency. Every corner of known space, the message was short. Humanity. Still lives. The galaxy froze. On distant worlds, alien leaders stared at their screens in disbelief. Scholars rushed to rewrite history. Traders whispered the name human with caution and respect. The Sentinel continued its broadcast. We did not conquer. We endured. We did not vanish. We waited. Then something even more impossible happened. From the dark edges of the galaxy, signals answered, weak at first. Then stronger. Human signals. Hidden colonies revealed themselves, worlds built in silence, protected by distance and secrecy. Generations of humans who had grown without knowing if their species would ever return to the stars. Now they knew. The Sentinel changed course one final time. It moved away from the battlefield toward the deepest void. Admiral Cartel opened a private channel. Why leave? He asked. You could rule the galaxy. The reply came slowly, carefully translated. That was never our purpose. The Sentinel's power levels began to drop. Systems entered rest mode. Its ancient hull dimmed, the scars fading back into darkness. Our role is not to dominate, the message continued. It is to remind. The human warship reached the edge of known space and stopped. Its final transmission carried a message recorded long ago, spoken by a human voice filled with quiet strength. We are not the strongest. We are not the fastest. But when we protect our own, we do not fail. With that, the Sentinel shut down. It did not explode. It did not vanish. It simply became still, an eternal guardian watching the stars. The Ziran Empire never attacked human space again. No empire did, because the galaxy had learned the truth. Humanity did not need vast fleets. Humanity did not need endless wars. Humanity needed only one thing: the will to protect hope. And as long as that will existed, humanity would never truly be gone. Some legends are not meant to return. They are meant to wait until they are needed.